People in the United States tend to be pretty active, but here in Washington, D.C., we see a lot of runners and a lot of athletes playing different sports all around. If you go down to Independence Mall, or if you go up to Connecticut Avenue in the Northwest, you're going to find a lot of people who are running around and just staying physically fit and pretty healthy. But how many of you knew how athletic all of the presidents in this country have been over the years? Forget all the presidents meant, worry about the presidents themselves. Every president, dating as far back as George Washington, has been an athlete in some way or another. So, let's delve into some of the best athletes in United States presidential history. Teddy Roosevelt. Everybody knows about Teddy Roosevelt. He was the guy who invaded Cuba, led the big cavalry division, but did you know that he was a big boxer? Oh yeah, Teddy Roosevelt loved boxing. Did so much boxing that it's not even funny. Next, let's talk about Herbert Hoover. Now, what would you think about Herbert Hoover? He was just that guy who tanked the economy and didn't do anything about it. Well, he played this game called Hoover Ball. He combined tennis, volleyball, and a medicine ball that his doctor made so that he could keep himself in shape. What were the rules of the game? Who knows? Have you ever seen Calvin Ball in those Calvin and Hobbes strips? It was probably something like that. You just kind of make up the rules as you go. Kind of like what he did with his economic policies after the Depression took its effect on the United States. Am I right? No. Next, we have Dwight D. Eisenhower. Eisenhower wasn't just a great strategist and tactician, but he was also a key football player. In 1912, he and the other cadets from West Point who were on the football team competed against Carlisle. And while he couldn't tackle and defeat his opponent, Jim Thorpe, he said that it had a profound effect on him. Maybe that effect was so profound that it inspired him to be the best general that he could be so that he could stop the Nazis during the invasion of Normandy. Fast forward 30 years later to John F. Kennedy. Everybody loves John F. Kennedy. He was the guy who not only saved us from nuclear annihilation, but also raced yachts in his spare time. And he was such a good swimmer that he was on the varsity team at Harvard University. Man, it really seems like the Kennedys were just living the good life.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys!
And so you probably never would have guessed this because everyone refers to Gerald Ford as that clumsy, bumbling fool who fell down the Air Force One staircase after he disembarked from the plane. But in fact, Gerald Ford was one of the most important and prominent football players in collegiate sports history. At Michigan University, he was on 2 national football championship teams and was actually the team MVP in 1934. The only thing about Gerald Ford that really makes him clumsy when it comes to sports was his notorious reputation for having the worst swing on the golf course. In fact, Bob Hope once remarked that you can really easily find Gerald Ford on the course. All you have to do is look out for people who have been injured. So those are some of the most athletic presidents in United States history. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for tuning in.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys!